The text arrived at 2 a.m. on the darkest night of my life. Need a hand? Just 3 simple words from Alex Chin, my high school sweetheart, my first love, and the person I hadn't spoken to in 8 years. I stared at my phone through tears, surrounded by the wreckage of what used to be my apartment, what used to be my life. If you're joining me on this journey, I promise it's worth staying until the end. Like they say, sometimes you need to hit rock bottom before you can rebuild something beautiful. Before I continue my story, if you're enjoying this so far, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and I promise to keep sharing these real, raw stories from the heart. I never expected to hear from Alex again, not after how things ended between us. Senior year had been a blur of college applications, graduation preparations, and the slow, painful realization that our paths were diverging. We made promises to stay together despite heading to colleges on opposite coasts, but by Thanksgiving break of freshman year, those promises had crumbled under the weight of distance and new experiences. The breakup wasn't dramatic, just a mutual acknowledgement that what we had was beautiful, but finished. 8 years later, I had built what I thought was a perfect life in Chicago. Executive position at a marketing firm by 30, sleek downtown apartment, engagement to Marcus, a successful surgeon who checked every box on my practical list. I had constructed my life with the precision of an architect, each achievement a carefully placed brick in the foundation of my future. Until the night everything collapsed. The promotion I'd been promised went to someone else. Marcus's work dinner turned out to be drinks with a pharmaceutical rep who was definitely more than a colleague, revealed through an accidentally sent photo. And my landlord informed me my building was being converted to luxury condos, giving me 30 days to vacate. 3 pillars of my carefully constructed life, gone in 24 hours. That night, I broke. Really broke. Threw plates against walls. Tore down the framed motivational quotes I'd hung up to impress people who never really visited. Poured Marcus's expensive whiskey down the drain. Then collapsed on the kitchen floor among the shards of my former life, sobbing until my throat was raw. That's when Alex's text arrived like a ghost from another lifetime. Need a hand? How did Alex even know? We hadn't spoken since that awkward coffee during winter break of freshman year. We'd maintained the polite fiction of Facebook friendship, but nothing more. I hesitated, pride and curiosity battling in my chest. Then I replied with one word, yes. An hour later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Alex standing there, the same warm brown eyes, the same half-smile, but with shoulders broader than I remembered and a confidence that hadn't existed in high school. You came, I whispered, suddenly conscious of my tear-swollen face and the disaster behind me. You said you needed a hand. Alex shrugged, as if driving across the city at 3 a.m. for someone you hadn't spoken to in 8 years was the most natural thing in the world. So here I am. Alex stepped into my apartment, surveying the damage without judgment. Bad day? I laughed, a broken, hollow sound. Bad year. Bad life decisions. Take your pick. We spent that night cleaning up broken glass and torn photos. Alex didn't ask questions, just worked alongside me in comfortable silence, occasionally passing me tissues when the tears returned. As dawn broke over the Chicago skyline, we sat on my balcony with mugs of coffee. How did you know? I finally asked. Alex smiled, looking out at the city awakening below. Your sister called me. She said you'd never ask for help yourself. My sister. Of course. She'd always kept in touch with Alex's family, had always said we were meant for each other, even after the breakup. Thank you, I said, the words inadequate for the gravity of what I felt. But I'm still not sure why you came. Alex turned to me, expression serious. Because 18-year-old me would have wanted someone to be there for you. And 30-year-old me still cares what happens to you. That morning marked the beginning of my rebuilding. Not a dramatic romantic reconciliation, life isn't usually that simple. Instead, it was the start of a friendship rekindled, a connection that reminded me of who I'd been before I started constructing a life to impress others rather than fulfill myself. Alex helped me find a new apartment in a neighborhood I'd always loved but had deemed insufficiently prestigious. With every box we packed, I felt lighter, shedding the artifacts of a life that had never truly fit. Why marketing? Alex asked one day as we packed up my home office filled with industry awards I'd never really celebrated winning. It was practical, I answered automatically. Good money, clear advancement path. But you wanted to be a photographer, Alex reminded me, holding up an old camera I'd tucked away in a drawer. You used to say you wanted to tell stories through images. I'd forgotten that dream, buried it beneath spreadsheets and client presentations and 5-year career plans. I took the camera from Alex's hands, feeling its familiar weight. I did, didn't I? The weeks turned to months. I settled into my new apartment, left the marketing firm, and took a massive pay cut to work as an assistant at a small photography studio. Marcus attempted a reconciliation that the old me would have accepted, practical, sensible, safe. But I declined, recognizing the difference between comfort and happiness. Alex and I grew close again, not as high school sweethearts but as adults who understood each other in ways that felt both familiar and entirely new. We discovered we lived only 15 minutes apart in Chicago, had somehow existed in parallel for years without crossing paths. Were you avoiding me? I asked one night over dinner at my place. Alex considered the question. Not actively. But I saw your engagement announcement online. Your life looked perfect, successful. Mine was, messier. I didn't want to complicate things for you. I learned that Alex had struggled through college, changed majors 3 times, spent a year traveling after graduation before returning to Chicago to start a small community arts center. A life without the linear progress mine had shown on paper, but one filled with purpose and authentic connection. 6 months after that middle-of-the-night text, I experienced my first gallery showing, a series of portraits capturing people at moments of transition in their lives. Alex stood beside me as visitors examined my work, offering silent support as I nervously answered questions about my artistic process. You're a natural, Alex whispered as another visitor complimented my eye for emotional truth. I had a good teacher, I replied, meaning both Alex and the younger version of myself who had loved photography before practicality intervened. I'd like to say we fell in love again that night, but real life isn't a romantic comedy with perfectly timed emotional climaxes. Instead, our relationship evolved gradually, friendship deepening into something more over shared meals and long walks and honest conversations about what we wanted from life. The first time Alex kissed me again was ordinary and extraordinary simultaneously, a rainy Tuesday evening after we'd assembled a bookshelf in my apartment. No dramatic music, no life-changing revelation, just the quiet recognition that what existed between us was worth exploring. I've missed you, Alex said simply. Not just since high school. I've missed you even when we were in the same room these past months. I understood exactly what Alex meant. There had been a hesitation between us, a careful maintenance of boundaries as we navigated our renewed connection. I've missed you too, I admitted. But I'm afraid of messing this up again. We were kids before, Alex reminded me. We're not anymore. 2 years after that midnight text, I found myself helping Alex through a crisis when the building housing the arts center received a demolition notice to make way for luxury apartments. The roles reversed. Now I was the steady presence as Alex faced the potential loss of years of work building community through art. We rallied the neighborhood, organized protests, secured local media coverage, and ultimately partnered with a community development organization to purchase the building. Through it all, I documented the struggle with my camera, telling the story of community resistance and triumph in images that were later exhibited at City Hall. We did it, Alex said on the day the partnership was finalized, ensuring the Arts Center would remain. But mostly you did it. You helped save something that matters to me. That's what we do, I replied. We show up for each other. Life isn't perfect now. We still argue, still have moments of doubt, still navigate the complicated reality of blending two adult lives. But we face it together, with an honesty that our younger selves couldn't have managed. Last month, on the 3-year anniversary of that text message, I asked Alex the question that had been growing in my mind. Why those words? Why need a hand? Alex smiled, taking my hand across the table. Because that's what my dad always used to ask when he saw someone struggling. No judgment, no expectations. Just a simple offer of help. I did need a hand, I acknowledged. I just didn't know how to ask for one. Most people don't, Alex replied. That's why the offer matters. If there's one thing I've learned through this journey of reconnection and rediscovery, it's that sometimes the people who knew us before we lost our way are the ones who can help us find ourselves again. Not because they want to return to the past, but because they can see the thread of authenticity that connects who we were to who we could become. Sometimes a hand offered in the darkest moment is all it takes to begin rebuilding. Sometimes the love that helps you find yourself again isn't the dramatic reunion you might imagine, but a quiet walking beside you as you rediscover your own path. And sometimes, the most important text message of your life arrives at 2 a.m., when you're sitting among the broken pieces, asking the simplest question, need a hand? If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to hear more journeys of reconnection and rediscovery. Remember that even in your darkest moments, help might be just a message away, sometimes from the most unexpected sources.